Deepak claimed that have seen you at the Japanese restaurant in Subang Jaya, and that's about 3 years ago, and gave you 50,000 ringgit and a new Sony laptop to remove an article depicting him. Are you denying this statement, or do you have anything to say on this statement?
Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago now? Which one? You said 2 years ago.
On April 6th, he said it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, it must have been in Manchester, because I was in Manchester 2 years ago.
Okay. That was in April 6th. And April 13th, he said it was 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
Yes.
3 years ago, I did have dinner with a Chinese dato.
Okay.
That was when I was released from ISA. And the Chinese dato and his family invited me and my family for dinner. We've known each other for, 30 years now. We're close family friends. And it was supposed to be his family and my family. And then suddenly there was this person who I did not know who he is. He just sort of walked in as a gate crasher. And he sat down and joined us for dinner. I was actually not introduced to this guy. And he was sitting at the other side of the table, and he wanted to take a photograph with me. He reads Malaysia Today, and I have hundreds of people walking up and taking photographs, even on the streets, in the shopping center, sometimes even in the train. I get people walking up wanting to take photographs with me. 90% of the time I don't even know who they are. I'm not introduced to them. So I don't know. If you say that he said it, then okay, fine, he said it. But yes, there was that dinner, and there was that Indian guy who get crashed. I was not told he's going to be there anyway, but he came. Whether he was invited or he came by accident, I don't know. Now, he said what? He paid 50,000 to remove the article.
Yes.
Was the article removed?
According to him, yes.
Then how come it's still on the archives? If you go into Malaysia Today, and if you type Deepak, and all his articles I've ever written about him all come out. So if he paid me 50,000 to remove the article, he just wasted his money, because the article is still there. And what was the computer he gave me?
Sony new
Sony.
laptop. Yeah.
Well, I use MacBook Pro and I use iPhone. I'm a bit more sophisticated. If you want to bribe me, it has to be at least a MacBook Pro and iPhone. And you know, in fact, I'm looking at also this new BlackBerry Storm. You know, so I go for the latest stuff. Please, give me more credit than that, you know?
Okay. At the same press conference on April 13, Deepak claimed that MCLM is indirectly promoting a political agenda of a particular party, and he also quoted that through the survey in MCLM's website, and he said 91% of the people agreed that MCLM is indirectly promoting one particular political party's agenda. And when I checked just now, I could not find the link. What I saw there was just it's about One Malaysia's initiative, and that's the only survey that I find. And do you have anything to say on that?
I don't quite get it. MCLM is promoting a political agenda of a certain party.
Yes.
Which party?
It's not quoted there.
Is it?
Yes.
So we have to, because there's so many different parties in Malaysia. You got to be clear which party you're talking about. And because I've been accused of trying to sabotage the opposition. I've been accused of being a Trojan horse, of being a turncoat, of trying to undermine the opposition. On the one hand, I have an agenda to promote a political party. On the other hand, I'm also trying to sabotage the political party. You have to be consistent as to what is it that my agenda is, to promote or to sabotage. It appears I'm trying to do both at the same time. So which is it I'm trying to do now? Promote or sabotage? Because I'm being accused of both.
Okay. Okay. Do you think that the general public now in Malaysia, they aware of your intention in making that statutory declaration on the Al-Tatuyah matter, and the details stated in the statutory declaration. Do you think the general public understand it?
Well, have you read my SD?
Yes, I've read.
What does my SD say?
I have your SD in hand here.
Okay, read the last paragraph. Go to the bottom line.
Okay. And I make this solemn declaration consciously believing the same to be true and by virtue of the provision of the Statutory Declaration Act 1060.
Right?
That's the last line?
Yeah?
Yep.
Oh, okay, go one paragraph above.
The purpose of this statutory declaration is to urge all these parties who have been duly informed and have knowledge of this matter to come forward to reveal the truth so that the police are able to conduct a proper and thorough investigation in the murder of Al-Tatuyah Shaligu.
So that the police are able to conduct a thorough investigation.
Right.
Which part of that don't you understand?
I understand it. I mean, do you think the general public understand it?
I don't know. If they don't, then I think we certainly have to take all these education ministers from Anwar Ibrahim downwards to task for not educating Malaysians in a better way, that they can understand simple English, which I wrote there. So I have no problems if people who are not educated enough cannot understand what I wrote. It's their problem, it's not my problem.
Do you have plan to come back home?
No, I love it in Manchester. And I get upset when they lose to Liverpool.
And London is not a cheap place to live. And how do you cope up with the expenses?
Well, I solved that by not going to London, since it's not that cheap.
In United Kingdom, it's not as
Sorry?
Even in United Kingdom, it's not as cheap as the expenditure in Malaysia. The expenses is much higher than here. How do you cope up with it?
I mean, if I ask you a question, Kuala Lumpur is so expensive, how can you afford to live in Ulu Kelantan? Don't you think I'm a bit silly asking a question like that? You live in KL or Ulu Kelantan? If Kuala Lumpur is expensive, why does it trouble you live in Ulu Kelantan?
Is it hang?
Hey.
It's hang.
What's the cost of cars in Malaysia compared to the cost of cars in England? Can you tell me?
Raja Petra, it's hang. Sorry. Okay, it's up. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, where was it we left off?
We left it in Ulu Kelantan.
Okay, like I said, if Kuala Lumpur is expensive and you live in Ulu Kelantan, should it upset you?
Not really.
And if London is expensive, I live in Ulu, England. And Ulu, England is called Manchester. Why should the cost of living in London upset me when I'm living in Manchester? Do you know the cost of houses in Manchester is much cheaper than the cost of houses in KL? Do you know that one full cart of groceries in Asda is much cheaper than one cart of groceries in Giant? You know that if you were to fill up 1 month's groceries, it's only what, maybe 5% of your salary compared to Kuala Lumpur? A full cart of groceries is 50% of your salary. You guys should actually leave Malaysia and live in England. The money you earn will go a long way, and you can afford a holiday in Spain every year.
Yeah.
What?
Hello?
What comparatives are
Raja
you
Petra?
using? What comparisons are you basing your assessment on? Can you be specific, and we'll debate the cost of living?
It's just based on the country and the currency, you know, UK and RM in Malaysia.
How long since you've lived in England?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I've never lived in England.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you know, okay. Go live in England, and 6 months later we talk about it again. You probably won't want to go back. It's so cheap to live in England compared to Malaysia.
Okay. After a few months living out from Malaysia.
2 years.
2 years.
Mm-hmm.
What is your general view about Malaysian politics today?
I think my general view about Malaysian politics, do I really need to answer that question? I think Malaysian politicians on both sides of the political divide are immature. They play up race and religious issues. Malaysian politics is all about how bad the other side is. It's not about what I could do better for the country. Everyone is just what, ceramah here, ceramah there, even on TV, this minister, that minister, prime ministers all make statement. It's just about how bad the other side is, how weak the other side is, but nobody is coming, explaining could improve the situation. I think if you want to talk about mature politics, come to England, sit in front of BBC, the Parliament channel, and you watch how debates are done in BBC. And if you wish, well, you don't even have to go and see the BBC Parliament channel. Just go to an English public school and watch the public school students debating. And suddenly, you come to, you form an opinion that the level of politics in Malaysia is even lower than the quality of English school students. So a lot of improvement is needed in Malaysian politics. And I'm not saying either side, this side or that side. I'm saying both sides are not yet matured enough to lead the country. And to them, leading the country is just about winning the elections. Winning the elections is only the start. After you win the elections, that's when your problems begin. And I think we've seen the example of how politicians, they get before they win the elections, but once they win the elections, talking and performing are two different animals.
Do you have any plans on how we can change the political situation in Malaysia?
Get rid of all the politicians. You see, most of the problems are actually created by the politicians. And what's politics all about? Is it about serving the rakyat? Is it about improving the country? No. Politics is about gaining power. And whatever they do is all about how I can get power. And even if you ask them, okay, you're offering yourself to stand for elections, you're offering yourself to become the new government. What are you going to do if you do become the government? They say, vote for us, put us in power, and then we'll show you. That's not good enough. We did that in 2008. And we're yet to see, the talking and the walking matching.
Okay, one question. Will you continue doing something that I've been doing in your blog in Malaysia Today? You are very actively writing about the series of Al-Tantuya's case and all that. Will that same determination and spirit be seen after this?
Why are you so obsessed with Al-Tantuya?
Because I'm curious, as everyone.
Yeah, why is your obsession with Al-Tantuya? Why don't you talk about the collusion between the police and the underground Chinese syndicates? I've written actually more about that than about Al-Tantuya. Probably for every one article, article on Al-Tantuya, I've written 20 articles about the problem in the police department. Aren't you interested in that?
Not really. I think my interest is more on Al-Tantuya. I don't know why.
Probably you're just, you have a sickness maybe, or you're obsessed. But Al-Tantuya is one person. We have 1,800 people who died under extrajudicial circumstances. A big portion of those 1,800 people are Indians. Aren't we also concerned about 1,800 people also dying under mysterious circumstances? We have Teo Beng Hock dying under mysterious circumstances. We have Kugan dying. We have this customs officer Sabani also dying. Many people die under mysterious circumstances. Don't they also deserve justice?
Yes, they do.
Why don't we talk about them as well?
Because why I asked you more on Altantuya case is because I was following your sedition case in PJ Session Court. So, because I was interested in that subject, so I thought of knowing more information on that.
That's not my first arrest. I've been arrested many times before on other charges. I've also been detained under ISA before for other reasons. So that's not my only arrest or my only detention. And I've been interrogated, police raided my house, maybe a dozen times on other issues other than Altantuya. So there's a lot more to life than just Altantuya's death. And there's a lot more Malaysia today is talking about than just the murder of Altantuya. Can we look at the whole package? Can we look at the big picture? Can we look at why things such as Kugan's death, Teo Beng Hock's death, Altantuya's death, Sabani's death, can we look at why such things happen in Malaysia and look at the cause of all this, rather than focus on the result? Because all those things are merely the result of a problem that we are facing. And if we did not have those problems, all those things would not have happened.
I have one final question about Altantuya.
Carry on.
And related to your TV3 interview again. In the TV3 interview, you said on Rosma's visit, sorry.
Quote in bahasa what I said.
You said saya ingat mustahil kot for Rosma to be at the scene, the crime scene.
Quote what I said in bahasa.
You said saya ingat mustahil kot. That is the core word that I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
And what you meant there was, from the news we understand that it's very difficult for the Deputy Prime Minister then's wife to be at that place. And you said it's saya ingat mustahil kot.
It was a 1.5 interview, and a big of it was on my statute declaration. Can you not just take one sentence, but take the whole paragraph?
Because the whole paragraph was not published in TV3 News.
I see. So you're just looking at that one sentence?
One sentence, yes.
Okay. And you don't know, therefore, what I said, yeah, in the whole paragraph?
Yes, correct.
Right. So you are basing on TV3?
Bulletin Utama News.
Alright, maybe TV3 should be asked to air the whole paragraph, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
Right.
But can I...
Anyhow, what I said, saya tidak percaya lagi. Apabila saya diberitahu, saya tidak percaya lagi. When I was told, I did not believe it at first. Ya, saya rasa mustahil kot Rosma masuk hutan panjat bukit tengah malam. I felt it was maybe impossible for Rosma to go into the jungle and climb that hill in the middle of the night. Meaning, of course, looking at the size of her body and trying to climb that jungle is not really easy for a woman of her build. Jadi saya tidak terima lagi. Sehingga saya buat pengesahan. Now that's bahasa Melayu, not bahasa Malaysia. Tell me what that means.
Okay, that means you did not believe until you did not believe it initially.
Then
then before you get the confirmation.
Because I did not believe it initially because I felt. Carry on.
Because you felt with her size, for her to go on top there, it's almost impossible until you get the confirmation.
So I sought further clarification or confirmation from other parties.
Correct.
Okay, so which part of that is not clear?
Now it's clear.
Fine.
Okay, I have came to my final question. What is your opinion about three people in Malaysia? First,
I thought you already asked me the final question.
that's about Altatuya.
Okay.
Okay, this is the last question for the interview, and I need I want to know what you think about three people in Malaysia. First, Najib Tun Razak. Second, Rosma Mansur. Third, Anwar Ibrahim.
Do I have to have an opinion of people?
If you have,
I have no opinion of these people. Why must I have an opinion of people?
do you have anything against any of them?
Can I just not have any feelings for anybody? Must I have feelings for people, opinions of people? What if I just do not want to have any opinion or feelings about them? Surely, in a civil society, I'm allowed that right.
Yeah, you have your right. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.